I just wanted to know more about you because I know that you protest every Sunday here then, right?
Well, we try. We used to. We're getting old and we're having problems, so we can't always be here. But we're known for it. I mean, we've been here over 20 years, the one police officer told us. And that was about 2 years ago. There's that run every year from Folsom to Sacramento,
Yeah.
26 miles. And he goes, I've been coming here 20 years doing this. He's in the intersection blocking traffic. Well, not really, but, the lights and shit. And he tells us, you guys have been here every year I've been here.
Yeah. Do you guys live in Sacramento or is it just every Sunday
Right now,
you pull up?
right now it's living in the truck in Sacramento.
So you just kind of move around
Well, you
during the
have
week?
to in a way, but we're given some slack by law enforcement because of our age.
Okay.
In fact,
But they know you guys already, right?
what's that?
They know you guys somewhat.
They know that we don't have any criminal record,
Okay.
and that really cuts a lot of ice with the cops.
Yeah.
So
So what are some of the things you protest?
Donald Trump mostly right now, and has been even when he was in office, before he was in office, after what he did on January 6th, 21, and led the insurrection, and they killed police officers, and he gets not arrested, but he gets treated very well for a guy who's actually a traitor
Right.
to
Okay.
America.
Yeah, I remember driving by a couple times even years ago.
I couldn't get something to chew, so I spit it out.
That's okay. I came up here to go to school at Sacramento State, and I remember during my freshman year, I came down to just explore Sacramento, and ever since I've seen you guys almost every Sunday I come, and I remember honking at you guys one time because you had some sort of sign that I really agreed with. I can't remember what it said, but
Yeah, but we do a lot of signs. I mean, we love it. It's just the basic communication a person could have
right.
with another person.
Yeah.
And hopefully in a literate society, it doesn't have to be. There's illiterate people everywhere, but they can go to their libraries and they can learn how to read. Someone will help teach them to read.
Yeah.
America is a literate society.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have these little outlets for literacy, let's talk like you and I right now, we're talking.
Right.
We're communicating.
Yeah.
And I don't laugh in a condescending way. It's just, to me, it's fun. And it's fun on that corner down there all the years we've been doing it. And the really good energy we get from a lot of people who, well, because of our longevity, I guess, but Sacramento and California has its liberal roots, but it's also very conservative roots here. But the liberals are what my brother and I, of course, get along with.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do you get your
Ideas?
yeah.
Well, it's just from living, talking to you. We talk to other people who come up and talk to us. It's all kinds of subject matter. It usually refers somehow to the protest. But there's all kinds of things we humans like to talk about.
Yeah.
So I can't pin down anything more than this. We kind of think of that corner as what's called the Agora. And the Greeks had a place that was like a market
Yeah.
called the Agora, and it was free speech.
Yeah.
You could come there and stand on your soapbox and let it be known. And we've always feel alignment with that thought. People can talk. People should talk.
Sure.
And the Greeks apparently had a term for people who have democracy, but they don't participate. They don't do anything locally at the little market. They don't post anything on a pole. They don't talk their ideas to anybody. And the Greeks called them idiotos.
Okay.
You have to participate in some minor way. You have to do something to help your community. And talking's not always the one, but that talking leads to, you know what? I know how to do that. I can help this person that needs help.
Right.
Plumbing, electrical, literature. I mean, all kinds of things people communicate just talking like you and me.
Yeah, just exchanging ideas, I think
That's
is healthy.
And that's what the Agora was all about.
Yeah.
And we supposedly built our system of democracy on the Greeks and what they did at the Agora. So I really, I'm glad we have that history.
Sure. Do you think the U.S. is a democracy, or?
It's never really been a democracy, but you know, I could say it. I have a freedom to say it, but all right, it's a democracy, but this all gets off into all kinds of lanes you could go in on that one.
Yeah, it's a rabbit hole.
All right, John and I were starting a business in Chico years ago. We tried. There's a thing that the Chamber of Commerce puts out. I think it's called SCORE. And it's where older people, at that time there were some older people than us, and they actually teach you the ropes on a business. And the one guy after the class, we were the last ones in the room, John and I, with the two teachers. And the one guy, you know, we said, we're talking politics as usual. We said, America's a fascist state. And the one guy was vehemently, no, not America. America's a great place. Well, his partner in crime, the other teacher, ex-businessman, said, no, these guys are right. We're a fascist nation. We always have been, but we don't advertise it. It's just so that way there rich people can dominate everybody, and we're to look up to those rich people. And we're taught to do what they want, not what we want. Not good for our families, not good for our environment, not good for us. But we're taught to do that, to look up to wealth.
Can you teach me a little bit of what fascism means and what makes us fascist?
It's a corporate dominated society that we look up to, and we don't bat an eye when they complain or want tax breaks or anything. We kind of give business what it wants. And for a lot of years, business has been diametrically opposed to what normal people who work, people who have children, people who have a life to live, the people who are fascists are the ones running and owning those businesses. But the people that work there and the people that are connected by family, they want a whole different lifestyle than fascism, because fascism teaches the wealthy how to, I don't know, it's hard to say in a way. It's how they teach them how to be business-centered and conscious. And society is for that end. It's not for Joey Garcia and his wife and kid to actually have the American dream. It's good that they can get it along the way. They fight for it. But it doesn't mean that this country gives a fuck about anybody, or why we're doing what we're doing, or why we're not good to people, you know.
Yeah, you mentioned the American dream. What to you is the American dream? How would you define the American dream?
I'm too cynical, I'm too old, and I live in a van. The American dream used to mean literally what Roosevelt said, like chicken in a pot, and maybe a car in the driveway. There were things that you could do that your parents never dreamed of. They
Right.
couldn't do it. They worked in agrarian background. They didn't go to college. They didn't have the skills required to build those automobiles that Henry Ford was building. And it didn't take a whole lot of brains to do that. It's repetitious work, but some of it's very interesting. There's so much I can't even really talk about because it's kind of like too much expression of ideas in a way, because it kind of like, to me, it leads you kind of, well, in a way it's a good thing, I guess, but it kind of leads you away from. So what do you think about the American dream? Are you enjoying your American dream? Have you been born and raised in America?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah.
You could have immigrated here.
I was born here. I was raised in Mexico for, I would say, first half of my life, and then I came here.
What part of Mexico?
Jalisco.
I'm not familiar geographically where that is.
Southwest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you down by Mexico City or way below Mexico City?
Southwest of Mexico City, yeah.
Okay. So you can show how much I know about Mexico. Although I've been a real fan of, like American history. I like Mexican history. And I've read books on it. And the Mexican people, just like a lot of people around the world, it's almost like, where did they come from and where did they have the schooling to build what they built, or to have these ideas of Quetzalcoatl,
Yeah.
The
Separate.
lizard
Yeah.
lizard bird that was kind of like the god. It's amazing.
Yeah, even though I grew up out there, I don't think I was very interested in learning the history.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in ancient history anywhere in the world, but Mexican history doesn't really call to me.
Well, it came to me just from being in the library in junior high and high school, and you're taking books off the shelf and you're burning time. And John and I both have been really into archaeology. And,
Oh, same here.
yeah, so it's very interesting to think about. I hate disturbing graves, I hate disturbing temples, I hate disturbing what all those people believed in. And we go to their graveyards and dig them up, and what we used to, we're kind of not doing that as much, I think. Am I right, do you know? But we don't actually dig up graveyards anymore of Mexicans or of Indians. I don't think. I know we used to.
I don't know. I'm not very sure about that fact, but
Well, you got to read Mexican history. You're a smart young man. Read Mexican history.
I know I'm gonna have.
But it's like to me, it was a lot of fun just to, and I can't remember the different authors' names. It's been quite a while.
What about archaeology fascinates you?
That somehow what humans do in cyclical nature in the universe on this planet is kind of almost always, it's a cycle. And the old saying is, don't let the circle be unbroken. There's a circle in archaeology where you see cultures rise and cultures fall. Right now, America's in a decline. We're like all cultures. We're burning our candle at both ends, and we're going to end up paying a price.
Yeah.
But all cultures pay that price. I mean, look at those people in Central America, built the pyramids, built their plazas, and one day they decided to abandon all that and go back in the jungle. That's survival. They couldn't feed themselves in the cities like they did at first. But as population swells, you've still got mouths to feed. They're pretty smart people, pretty smart archaeology-wise as far as their agriculture, getting water into the fields, growing crops. But then again, there comes a curve. You get that couple of years where it dries out, and it's like a drought. What can you do about it if you're a Mesoamerican? and you're smart, and you know you can look at the stars and everything else, but you also know that you're in a drought, and you don't really have the technology to end that drought or to utilize what water resources required to keep your people. And so they scattered. They left their cities behind and moved back out into the forest where they could survive. And they knew it. That's before white man came along. And their monkeys were still in the trees, and the fish were in the rivers. People were happy, but they had to abandon what ultimately turned out to be a failed belief system in the city. Big pyramids. I mean, it's a marvel today. You look at those pyramids, and the incline on them, how steep that is. Have you ever climbed a pyramid?
No, it's on my bucket list.
Yeah, me too, but I don't think I'd ever do it. I'm too old now. I'm shaky walking out here. Think what it's like on a step on a pyramid that's got like a 60-degree angle.
Yeah.
That, to me, I'd be hugging the blocks. I wouldn't be walking up it. But when I was young, like you, maybe... It's hard to walk as an older man. It just is hard. The good old days of having youth, the ability to climb stairs, go walking. John and I are walking fanatics or bicycling fanatics. Have you ever ridden the Folsom Lake?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a nice ride. We love that ride.
Yeah.
But you talk to most people in Sacramento, they would never consider it. They would get in their car and drive out there. But then they'd miss those rock piles out there in Sacramento. If they went slow and were towering down, you look down and you see the lizards or the spiders or the rattlesnakes. I mean, Sacramento it's got location. It used to have more wildlife. John and I are scared. We think it's the end of the world, and we're not trying to act like any religious fundamentalists, but if you look up in the sky, do you see any insects? Do you see any swarms of insects? That's all gone now. In the last 40 years, they said the earth, America, has lost 50% of its insects. They're like at the basis of the food chain. They disappear, ultimately we disappear, but we're at the apex.
Yeah.
We can't feel it yet. It's visually there, but it's not there on the dinner plate. Scarcity of food. We're a smart species. We'll get around it somehow, maybe.
Yeah. You know, last question before I let you go. I don't want to keep you here too much, but...
Well, it don't matter. You can tell I like to talk.
Oh, absolutely. And I'd love to keep these conversations going every Sunday if possible.
That might get boring pretty quick.
Oh, we can...
We've been there, done that, like Bart Simpson. You know.
Really?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Aren't you that way? Sometimes you get kind of like too much of the same thing, and you're like, oh, wow, I'll have to go talk to somebody else now. And you do that already, probably, so...
You're the first person I honestly have interviewed like this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you'd done it before. I kind of secretly thought, when I thought about you the first time, we've had a lot of people that disagree with us, that want to sit and talk to us.
Disagree. Yeah,
and that's all right with me. But sometimes it leads to anger and threats, and you're not angry and you're not threatening.
No.
So you're different than a lot of the people that interview us or talk to us. A lot of them have ulterior motives, and they get angry if you don't talk to them about their point of view, because sometimes they get angry quickly. And you haven't got angry. You're a smart guy. You're just listening.
Yeah, it is.
But there's people that have a point of view, political, and they know ours, and they come up to us with we want to talk to you, let's ask questions, and then
like with an intention to
win. It goes right
win.
to the meat with the knife, to the jugular
vein.
Yeah. And why do you do that, or why? I thought we were talking about it. We weren't actually here to be tied down.
Right.
Yeah, well,
But I can tell that there's just so many things we can unfold, you know.
and that's what the Agora is all about.
Yeah.
That's why the Greeks were so smart. Bring everybody down into the square
Yeah.
after harvesting crops or making ceramics or doing whatever else for everybody having their place. And then that person's encouraged then to say whatever the fuck they want to say.
Sure.
It's freedom.
Yeah.
And it's society, and that's what I love. These people that say, oh, you know, God said it, I believe it, that's it. God didn't just say it that way.
Yeah.
I don't think God wants us to close up our perceptions.
Right.
We're to be smart to each other and nice to each other.
Why do you think, and I want you to answer it, you know, loud and clear so that people can hear you, but why do you think people are so divided today and age?
Mass media, it's almost like a local problem. People are like that, but the same kind of mentality I see driving that, all these shows the hard right has. Oh, you know, the Democrats this, Democrat. Or there's a conspiracy, Trump says, by Joe Biden. You know Joe Biden has no conspiracy. Nobody really believes it. But Trump repeats it, repeats it, repeats it. Well, people begin to believe what they hear, what they hear, what they hear. And it's not true. I don't believe Mr. Biden gives a rat's ass about Donald Trump. He doesn't go to bed at night worried about Donald Trump. He's the president of the United States. And if we're talking some brouhaha, we're supposedly the greatest democracy that's ever existed on the face of the earth in contemporary and pre-contemporary times. America, we're lucky our forefathers wrote, the lawyers that they wrote into the Constitution what we are. And if Trump destroys that, we're up shit's creek. But I think he got convicted, and from what I'm reading just a day or two later in the paper is he's going to jail. He's gonna go to jail. You cannot have 34 felonies hanging over your head, convictions, and then say, oh, but I was president, so I'll leverage that into no jail time. It's not gonna work. We're a nation of laws and rules.
Right.
So if you don't follow them, then why would anybody fight for them?
Right.
How many people, how many men and women have died for the protection of America? What they believed was the protection of democracy.
Right.
And we do have democracy here, but just like everything else in life, we also have fascism here. It makes a lot of people rich. And it was always kind of kept quiet. You don't really want to wave the Hitler flag, but there's a lot of people in business that love Hitler. They loved him. Oh, he did good things in the beginning. Well, yeah, I mean, they started killing people in mass. And what's the justification? Ignorance. I mean, here a guy does what he does. How many millions of people, not just, I don't know how many Jews got killed in World War II. I've heard as high as 11 million. But I also know a lot of Russians died. I don't know if it's by the millions, but other cultures died in World War II and were wiped out. And it's a sad thing on America and the rest of the world that we're a species that believes in war, believes in mass killing of your enemy. And after what Hitler did, there was World War II. And now, 70 years later, we have Donald Trump. And he says, oh, the Reich, I want to start the Reich. You know that one, right? Mm-hmm. A week ago. Well, which Reich is it? Is this the Third Reich again, or are we going to start a fourth Reich? Are we going to have another Adolf Hitler? He wants to be it. He says he's not Hitler, but he uses all the terms Hitler would use, or someone who's very fascist would use. So he scares me because he really He's got a lot of people up in arms in America that shouldn't be. And he's given some people license to kill and to hurt other Americans if they, because the polls show, from what I hear, 60% of Republicans believe in violence is a fair part of politics. Never used to be that way. No Republican or Democrat would ever believe that using violence is an end in itself for political discourse. Not in America. But Trump comes along and says, oh, it's okay. So his people flock to him and say, yes, it's okay. He wants it, we want it. And it's not a good thing to have, not in a democracy. Now in a theocracy, or in a fascist state, or in a possible communist state, because the communists don't believe in God or anything like that. They don't believe there's such a thing. At least that's the way I grew up learning about the communists. They don't believe in God.
Last one. Any words of wisdom for the younger generation?
I'm scared because a lot of the people in the younger generation, they're too quiet.
They're too quiet?
They're too quiet, and they're actually kind of thinking more about fashion and succeeding. I mean, we always did that, but they don't seem to be really caring about the politics that this man's bringing to this democracy. It's going to end it. You're not going to be in a democracy anymore. I'm not. And now we've always been fascist, but it's business related, Wall Street. But now it's going to be political, and it's going to be the death of people. Do you know what waterboarding is?
Yeah.
That's a torture. Never used to be allowed. Our guys weren't even allowed to use that. People in the Trump campaign came out a month or two ago and said 150 million Americans need to be waterboarded. That's torture. Why do you have to torture 150 million Americans? Men, women, and children are going to be tortured. For what? Donald can pretend he's king, and we shouldn't have a king. We should have politicians that run for office, and they either get voted in or they don't. But we shouldn't have a king, especially one that's so evil. His declarations of what he is and what he's going to do scares everybody who hears it, except that 30%, we're told, which is his base. And they're like cowboys and cowgirls. And they want him to succeed. Some of them believe he's actually Jesus on earth. So they want to have Jesus command to them what to do. And he's not Jesus in the least. He's not good in any kind of... You would think Jesus would be good, he's always teaching you when you're in Bible school. Remember, you got the songs, Jesus is not my shepherd, just a song. Because he told me so. Gee, I can't remember it. Do you remember a song like that?
No.
Or you sing it in like grade school, and it's for church. Christian church.
Yeah.
Well, what's your name again?
Alex.
Alex.
Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem.